Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Happy Friday to my geeks and my trolls, because I know you're out there too. Hello, and hope you're comfortable under your bridge watching the Billy Goats go by. It is Friday, and welcome to the Midnight Express, the weekend prep edition. We got a pretty big weekend for you guys. I got a pretty big weekend at the center, and we have online. We have tomorrow at around 3. We're going to start with. We're going to get. Cable Guy out of the way. After that, we will do Happy Gilmore. We're going to go back to back. We're not going to separate. We're going to go back to back into those. I need them done pretty much by 6-ish because I have other streams and other stuff that I'll have to do throughout there. So tomorrow at 3 p.m., we will start with Cable Guy and we will roll into Happy Gilmore 2. If you are interested in adding anything to that or this weekend, tomorrow is the last day to do so. After tomorrow, the link that is currently tied to the top of the chat, that one right there, that tip link will go away, and we will go back to doing just our normal, regular science fiction, horror, fantasy watch parties like that. But yeah, and by the way, this link can be used. Who knows? We might keep it up. This link can be used to recommend and get us going on a good movie too. It doesn't always have to be the non-whimsical shit that we've been watching. But there it is. I will keep that link up probably until the end of tomorrow's double feature. If you want to add anything to that, then between now and then is your chance. All right, how you doing, Stephen Ortega? What's going on, Daniel Martin? Not a fan of James Gunn writing and directing another project, not just because I want something different totally, but I also fear this guy's getting burned. Yeah, I would rather have him be the oversight. If you're the studio head now, I don't necessarily mind him writing because in the screenplay, a screenwriter can take it over. The director can take his ideas and turn them into their own. But yeah, him directing him, I understood why he needed to get Superman off and running because that was the first step in the universe. But I don't need to see him doing other stuff if you're going to be the studio head, because that's we have people to do the creative input stuff like that at that level. They're not studio heads. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. How you doing, my favorite koala / kangaroo? William, should Anthem sign a deal with Paramount to have TNA on TV? Yeah, Anthem should sign any deal that gets them a leg up than that Access does, because I don't get Access here. I have to watch it on the app. TNA and CBS for Paramount to help them get more reviews. Currently airs on yeah, Access that nobody has. We don't have it here. At least I don't have it on Cox Cable. I think you might have to have DirecTV or Dish Network to have something like that. This week I watched Bring Her Back, which was day 24. I have not seen that yet. I saw all the posters and stuff. Yeah, now people can stop panicking, thinking that it's either going to get blended in with James Gunn stuff or it's going to not happen at all. Good. Fine. What up, William? Some people, boy, you are absolutely obsessed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I've met the guy who created them, the people who created them, like numerous times. Maybe they'll come out to Australia for you. Yeah, but you have to have TNA. It's the TNA channel is not the same thing. You can only watch the new episodes on TNA Plus. I have that TNA channel, but it's the same thing as having TNA Plus. I can't access it without TNA Plus. So yeah. William Dawson, James Gunn writing Super Family. As far as the Super Family movie, Supergirl's it for me. I don't want to see anything. I don't need the Super Family. I don't need the Super Family. I got Superman, I got Supergirl, and I got the dog. That's it. I don't know what we mean by Super Family. Are we introducing more? Oh, jeez. I don't. I'm gonna pass on that if that's the case. Okie dokie. Let's see if we're gonna have co-host tonight. Oh, doesn't look like we're gonna have co-host tonight. So, all right. But one thing I do want to get out of the way, I almost forgot about this, and we stream a lot. We're on the air a lot, and for about a 3-year span, I think it is. Actually 2 years, because that first year I just had the channel. I wasn't doing anything on it. We have reached our 1,000th upload, which means our 1,000th show, live stream, upload, anything like that. We have reached 1,000. Just to let you know just how far behind I'm at, behind with YouTube. Somebody, John Campion, this same very day reached 15,000 uploads. So, but a small channel like mine, 1,000 uploads is pretty good. We're actually doing pretty well as a channel for the type of stuff that we do and the time that we air most of the majority of our content, which is always pretty much in the PM/AM hours. To get the type of numbers we get is pretty amazing. I know a lot of people have a lot more subscribers, but they also do a lot of things that I just don't do with this channel. They do a lot of controversial stuff that gets clicks and watches. They stream in, decent hours on their live streams. I stream at mostly 11, 12, unless it's the weekend. But for the circumstances that this channel exists under, we've actually done pretty well. We'll have nights, we're rolling 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll have 100 people watching across all platforms. And it's not just YouTube. We have Twitter, Instagram. We have all, sometimes it's Facebook. So a lot of times we'll have people on several different platforms that total up to 100 people. So for the time of night that we live stream, for the type of stuff that we talk about, we don't do the crazy TMZ shit. We don't, get in these dumb feuds and put people who will never be on our show on our thumbnails. And a lot, like I said, a lot of people do that and they get the big numbers, but for where we're at and what the conversation I want to have, I'm pretty happy with where we are right now. So there we go. 1,000 views. I know, William, you go to the live action section on Roku and they have TNA channel that airs TNA 24/7. Yeah. Okay. I know that one, but it doesn't air the new stuff though. It airs the older stuff. Like I have Roku at the store and I have TNA Plus, and right next to it is the TNA channel, but it doesn't show you like one time I looked at it the other day, they had like Bound for Glory 2007. I think that's the one you're talking about. But yeah, they actually need an actual network though. Thank you, Daniel. From some Ice Cube. Yeah, apparently he's in a pretty awful War of the Worlds movie. I got to take a look at. How you doing, Azteca? Thank you, Talaria. Long time no see, by the way. Yeah, Friday and Heat and Braveheart all turn 30 years. Daniel Williams should be proud of yourself in the channel. You did it entirely your way and as a reflection of who you are. It's dependable, honest, hardworking, and not chaotic John Phil. That's what I try to do. I try to give you guys a place where we don't do we talk we touch on heated topics sometimes, but it's because they're out there. If somebody else is doing something stupid in our community, then I don't think I need to cover that. Generally, those people have their own channels. If you want to go see that, go there. But yeah, I like the kind of conversations we have here. I like the topics we cover here. I like the ground we cover here. And like I said, I could put this channel on steroids, and we would be in a different plateau. But at the same time, I promised myself, if I was going to do this YouTube thing, that I was going to have the same conversations with you all that I do in my store. That is why it's called the Sci-Fi Center Presents. It is being presented to you from me and the Sci-Fi Center, which are one and the same. So I that's my promise. That's the one thing I can keep. The one promise I can keep to you guys. William, do you still keep up with the smaller circuit wrestling, Combat Zone wrestling? I try to. I want to network with a lot of these guys, even if they're not doing a show with me or anything like that. I want them to be able to feel free that they can come in, drop flyers at the store, and get up on the channel too. I know it's been a long time. Just realized stuff has changed my life, but I'm here to support you any way I can. All right, cool, man. And hey, the books came in, by the way. The books you were waiting for. Batman, I'm picking them up in the morning. The Batman soft covers and hardcovers for the original story arcs are starting to come in, and I'm going to have them tomorrow. I don't know. I wouldn't have, because she's bound to say something stupid again. And if you're just going to be back at square one again if she says something that doesn't represent the product you're selling. If she hasn't changed, then I don't know why we would be bringing her back. But that's just me. Carlos Miramontes, how are you doing, Carlos? Yes, I saw Dave Bautista will be in Henry Cavill's. He's playing a villain now. If this is a true remake or whatever this, I don't know what this complete is. What they are calling this. Then if it's the Kurgan, that's perfect for him. It's not just a meathead character. The Kurgan's a truly deadly, awe-inspiring villain. That is one of the best things about Highlander, and that's a great role for him if this is true. Talia, very glad to have you here and hoping you can find some refuge here. Yeah, I hope the stuff that's going on in your real life is not bad stuff. I just hope you're busy, if that's what you're meaning. Silky move, there's fourth. Yeah, like I said, I mean, they just got to be careful. There was a reason you distanced yourself from her to begin with. And if that reason's, if she's still going to go off the cuff like that, I don't know how good an idea, unless there's things written into her contract, or written in the contract if they ever deal with her, saying you will not say this in, you agree to this or you're gone type of situation. So like I said, she's kind of been in the back of my mind type of situation. Hold on. Still sneezing. All right, good. As long as it's not like, crisis situations and shit like that. So yeah, that was a very controlled panel. I don't know how open that panel was, because other than fourth, not causing chaos, everybody else was, Anthony, I know he's not going to do anything crazy. Fourth, you're the wild card. You and Omega. Be right back. Allergies are destroying me today. Well, Scarlett Johansson had a business disagreement over her bonus for Black Widow because of the way they released it. I mean, they'll always do business. That got worked out. Yeah, she took him to court, but it ended up getting settled out of court. And those are just things. Gina Carano said things that just weren't representative of the company she was working for. At least in that's their opinion. And like I said, unless there's some fail safes put in there, I don't. What's going to stop her from doing it again? So. Lionsgate passed on Highlander, which was idiotic of them, and now it's Batista. Well, Lionsgate did it because wasn't there a budget issue? They couldn't afford to do it. It wasn't that they passed on it; they couldn't afford to do it. It was beyond the budget, and that's why it got turned over to a company that can afford to do it. You know what? Lionsgate may have made the right decision. If they can't afford to do it, you don't want to half-ass Highlander. There's going to be a lot of eyes watching that, though. Yeah, I'm trying to work out. I was trying to work out getting Lloyd on our show this weekend. That was one of the things I was working on, but he's in Florida, Comic Con in Florida on East Coast time, so he's probably going to be tied up. So I'm trying to get. First of all, I'm trying to get him out here to Vegas to so we can screen it here. So his schedule, man, that old man works. That old man works, and he's up all the time. He's on a plane all the time. Pressing 80. Yeah, it's but I did want to try to get him on the show this week, but it's just not going to work out. He's got other people that can come on the show, but I kind of want Lloyd because he created the Toxic Avenger, so it's kind of like wanted to get him on here, and I can wait. I'm patient. I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't have to rush. It doesn't have to be this weekend. Yeah, Lloyd Kaufman will be 80 this December. He'll be 80 this December, and that guy just does not stop. So yeah. Disney settled with Gina Carano before Chalk could go to Discovery. What is Disney scared of? They just don't want the publicity. Most corporations like this will settle out of court because even if there's a slight chance that they could lose, it's still a chance. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of their money because they pay big lawyers, and they don't like the publicity. They don't like the publicity. That's why most corporations settle. Very few corporations want to be drugged through court. That's why they always respond to lawsuits and things. But that's also why it took this long too, because it wasn't, it wasn't something that was urgent to them. And if they ever did want to work with her again, this is a way to settle out. So. It was a pretty strong pay-per-view, but I didn't need to see Brock Lesnar back again. I thought the women's match carried things. Some of the matches, like the Wyatt sick, I thought that match could have gone longer. Some of the matches were actually too short, believe it or not. But I thought it was a pretty strong pay-per-view. The Seth Rollins thing, I'm just tired of that. I'm tired of Money in the Bank. I'm not a big fan of Money in the Bank. I'm not a big fan of any of these contracts that cash in anytime, anywhere. I'm tired of that madness on both ends. I don't care who the Fed that does it is. Unless it's like, in Wrestle Kingdom, because usually it's whoever wins the G Max can set up their own main event. They usually, like Zack Sabre Jr., he forewent his Wrestle Kingdom match and said, no, I want my title match here in London, and he got it done there. But it wasn't a surprise. I'm gonna watch a hell of a match. By the way, that was a really good match for John Cena, and just have it ruined like that. It's just like I just hate stuff like that. But overall, I thought it was a strong pay-per-view. I would not have paid premium money for it, though. We talked about that last night. I think this is pretty much a resolution everyone would have happened with Disney and Gina. They would much rather settle than drag this out publicly. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Okay, fine, settle with her, but that doesn't mean you have to use her. Do I want somebody working for me that might just go off canon like that? Well, no, I don't know about that, son. Vince did some really tawdry shit while he was under control. This is more of an expression issue, I think. I'm going to go see Weapons this afternoon. If everything rolls out, either this afternoon or this early evening, one of the two. Hi, Ray. What's going on, fellow night owl? I saw the trailer for that. I don't get the hype, but then again, not everything's for me. William, do you think Harry Potter TV series will blow up as big as Game of Thrones? Yes. Did you think that we'll get full 7 seasons? Yeah. I think Harry Potter. See, everybody who went to see Harry Potter and Generation Xers and Generation Millennials have already seen all those movies, and their kids have seen the hell out of those movies. If this is going to be something new, if it's done right, and it's on HBO, so that tells you enough right there. If it's done right, this could be that level of show, because now it's something for 3 generations of people to watch with each other. And as long as you don't have to be true to the movies. You just have to be true to the books. And that's what it sounds like they're doing. Is each season is going to be a book. And if they do what they did with Game of Thrones, if they treat Harry Potter, not with this TNA and the sex and all that, but if they treat Harry Potter like they treat Game of Thrones, then I think it's going to be that level of hit. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of Money in the Bank. I hate seeing 4-star matches ruined after 2 guys beat the hell out of each other. Here comes some fool with a briefcase. I hate that. Weapons was great. Can't wait to chat with you all in person. Okay, I know you saw it tonight. Then Star Wars doesn't need a face if she's a face. I mean that's not good. Probably so. She really can't. She's not a very good actor. But you know what? There's a lot of people in Hollywood that can't act that get a lot of highlights. Seth Money in the Bank win in 2015 in Canes. I hated 2015. That was the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match. I hated that. I threw shit at the TV. Actually, it was my screen because we were watching it on the movie screen. I hated that. You like it? I hated that. That's where I started to really hate the Money in the Bank. Well, she shouldn't have to. She can't. That's right. That's really a moot point. She can't act. Be right back. Might be having a Benadryl night. Not a Benadryl stream, but man, it's just starting to wow, I don't know what's in the air. It's fucking me up. Yeah, well, and he ended up using that. I think that's when he used it on Roman Reigns. Curb stomped him. Oh, I hated that. All right, guys. So what do we want to talk about? Because I did nothing really earth breaking. I mean, I didn't get to see Weapons of the Day. I was really busy. I'm going to really do my damnedest to see it tomorrow because I do want to talk about it this weekend. And if I don't see it tomorrow, then I'll fall into a hole. Tired of talking about box office. Tired of talking about Superman. What do we got going? Together, I'm just going to probably end up missing out on until it reaches PVOD. Just don't have the time. Pedro Pascal's a pretty good actor. I don't know where that's coming from. He's definitely better than Gina Carano. So there you go. Just looking at some stuff. Yeah, Harry Potter television series is going to be huge. I can see all new merch. Yeah, they're going to sell a ton of stuff for that one. I know some of the old merch from the movies. And like I said, I think that the fact that they are going for the book accuracy is going to, because like I said, people are always holding the movies accountable to the book. And if HBO is going to do it this way, like I said, that's exactly what they did for most part of Game of Thrones. Then I think they're going to have a hit on their hand. Hello, Duck. I maintain that Gal Gadot is a better actress than what she gets backed on. She's very good at emoting. Well, she's been in some outside of Wonder Woman. She's not in stuff that really calls for her to be Elizabeth Taylor either. So, I mean, I can only blame. I mean, her ability and then having a good director to bring it out of her. It just hasn't. I mean, Fast and the Furious is not bringing anything out of anybody. So.
Yeah, I agree with the comment though, as I was being brought in. So,
how was Galactus nerfed? I watched. Well, how was he nerfed? he got what happened to him is the exact same thing that's happened to him in the comics. How was he nerfed? You're gonna have to explain that once enough. Football is back, and yeah, better weather is back with it. Preseason garbage. Sorry, because it's going to be people that will be bagging your groceries when the season starts. It's still fun. It's still an indicator that better weather is coming. I get my hour back. We're in my favorite part. Next week is September. We are literally exactly less than a month, less than 30 days away from my birthday. Woohoo! Which would be a national holiday, and usually it is on Labor Day. So you got to take the day off. You're welcome. Preseason football, even though it's like people who will not be on the field when the season starts, it's still kind of cool. You're gonna have to tell me how Galactus was nerfed enough. I'll wait.
Did you see this comment from Aaron before I came on about Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, not only
the
that,
kind of shit that happens when you show up to a show at time.
Well, it's sorry. It's like guys, my daily schedule is not resembling yours anyway. It's like I do a lot of my writing at night. To be
Night Rider. Haha, that's hilarious.
But he's also, I don't know if you touched on this. He's also apparently going to be the bad guy or some kind of appearance or role in Roadhouse 2, Dave Bautista. So he's got a bunch of different things being lined up now. I
hope he's just not a guy he's fighting in the bar.
I mean, he's going to be more than just like thug number 8 or something. But I mean, you're not casting Dave Bautista, in something like Roadhouse, if you're not going to put his physicality to use.
Yeah, but that's fine. But I just hope he's not a meathead, I regret saying Snow White remake, but yeah,
she was. She was the best thing in it. It was it. And going back to Highlander real quick. So this is actually finally getting some traction now. It's because we've been hearing that about this for a while, but so it's got Henry Cavill, leading lady whose name escapes me, Russell Crowe, and Dave Bautista. So, and of course Chad, from
you're talking about Highlander.
Yeah, from Highlander.
Russell Crowe, I'm thinking, has got to play Ramirez.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is we talked about it here before. Is like we don't know. Like, is this a remake? Is this like a?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And by the way, Buffy, stop calling the shit a reboot. It does not apply, and I'm telling you, you're urinating on your momentum with that word. It is a revival. Hear that? Revival. Go ahead.
Well, because we talked about you could like reboot Highlander with that while still like having it being in continuity of the original, because
they've already done it.
Like a new cycle of Immortals being born. But if it is like a remake, like if this is remaking the '86 movie, Batista's got to be the Kurgan.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be the Kurgan, and that's Kurgan is not a meathead role. I mean, he plays around, but he's not a meathead role.
Fade away.
Yeah, the way the Kurgan is described by Ramirez is not the movie. Actually, Clancy Brown does a great legendary job playing him, but the movie does not honor the legend of what the Kurgan is. They just don't have enough time, and I think they could make him way more fearsome than they did in 1986. I just expected Galactus to be more of a threat, especially with how many people hype him up. Okay. So we go over his first appearance all the time, and he gets kind of pushed around. But as far as him being a threat, remember once he realized that she was pregnant with Franklin, everything about him being a threat changed. He wasn't there to devour the earth at that point. He was there to get the child. And he held back. Galactus held back because remember, at first, he doesn't even know where he is until he does that scan. And then they move him. So the entire time he's fighting the Fantastic Four, especially once Reed gets Franklin back, he's trying to preserve the child. So he's holding back. But I think that Galactus is going to play a major role coming. And I think he will get filled out. But yeah, that movie could have lasted a little bit longer, but as far as his goal was, like when you first see Galactus in the comics, he's trying to devour Earth when he meets the Fantastic Four. When he meets the Fantastic Four here, no, he's trying to get Franklin Richards because he possesses power cosmic, or what goes for the power cosmic, and he wants him to be his successor. So it's a different and there are times when if Galactus has a different mission, he's not a threat. Galactus is not a villain. So I kind of see what you're saying there, but I'm going to give him a little bit more runway here on this one.
By the way, because I've seen a little bit of a talk about, there is of course some not really Star Wars news, but somebody related to Star Wars. I don't know if you talked about that. Yeah.
Or Gina Carano, yeah. It's a to me it's a non-starter. I don't know why you would bring her back. The reason, unless you are secure in thinking that the reasons that you got rid of her in the first place aren't going to come about, then yeah, you can settle out of court fine. But I if I'm running the show, you never see her again because I can't have any pipe bombs or wild cards out there unless she signs a contract that says you will adhere to this or you're done type of situation. Unless absent of that, anybody that can cause something like that, I just don't want them around. Personally.
I mean, people have come back from a lot worse.
They have, but once again, there are safeguards in place. So if she comes back, she needs to come back on Disney's terms. Disney can't be worrying about her saying stupid shit again. I just the thing about it, who gives a fuck about her? To be honest with you, there's that show. She wasn't the heart of that show. Every actor and person that is part of these things are there to support the story. I don't what the Star Wars needs her. I don't even think. I mean, them settling her without a court doesn't mean they're going to use her again. I know what her lawyer and she said, but if I'm like, why would you want that headache? It's not like we're talking about Meryl Streep or somebody. Why would you want that headache? You don't need it. She's been out of the Star Wars picture for what years now? I just don't see why you would cause yourself a headache like that when there's other actresses out there that can.
I mean, she was a popular character. I mean, she was definitely a popular character.
So what? Popular characters do stupid shit, and if you got rid of her for a reason. It's not like we're treading on unknown territory. You got rid of her for a reason. Is that reason gone? And if that reason's not gone, why would you reintroduce her back into anything?
Well, I mean I would assume that means that reason's gone. They've determined that reason's gone is why they've made the settlement.
That shit needs to be contracted, not a handshake deal. Because otherwise, you put her in Mandalorian or you put her in something else, and she goes off base and does some weird shit again. And here you are stuck in the middle as a studio, having to explain that stuff or having that be the topic of the conversation. I don't know. When people start, becoming, if I hire you to do a job and to be a part of something, and you become the story all on your own, I don't need you. Move on.
Well,
that's not just her. That's anybody like that. If I hired you to be part of a collective project and you became the story, you got to go. You got to go.
Well, Fourth is definitely Team Gina.
Fourth is not paying anybody though. Fourth is not investing in anything. Fourth doesn't have to have his PR people come out and explain why somebody said something stupid. That's what I mean. Do you really want to put
so then I think, is this not safe to assume that they've determined, okay, this is
if they use her again. If they use her again. There's no guarantee that they're going to use. Just because you sell a lot of court.
I think on the basis of this, I think you're going to see her again in Mandalorian. Or
then
whatever,
they need to have. Then it needs to be rock like not a. Hey, I think she's okay. No, you sign right here. And you understand when you sign this, none of this, oh, I didn't think it would be that bad shit. No, you signed right here saying if you fuck up again, you're gone with cause, which means there's no legal recourse. Once you sign that contract and you violate that contract, if you do or say something stupid again, then there's no court case because you agreed coming in. Absent of that, no, I would keep moving on past her. Now, if they've signed something like that, yeah. But they would be absolute fools if they did not. They'd be absolute fucking dummies if they didn't give themselves assurances that, and that's for anybody that is under your employ anywhere. You do not have the right to misrepresent a company. They have the right to get rid of you. So hopefully Disney feels safe. By the way, Gina Carano has. Why am I talking so much about her? Next.
Well, it was news today.
That's not news. You're telling me that there's no news then. If Gina Carano is news, that's not news. Because it wasn't really news when she got fired.
Oh, it was absolutely news that she got fired.
Well, not really.
That blew the hell up. I was
Didn't
there. It was
didn't I
absolutely
was there
news.
too.
I was
I
on
get.
ground
Oh,
zero with
tell you
what.
what. As a host of the show, I'd give it about as much fuck right now as I did. What 2, 3 years ago? She's Disney's problem. I didn't miss her. I didn't miss her from Star Wars. Didn't miss her one bit. That show had other reasons why it disappointed me. Her not being there didn't mean shit to me. Sorry.
I don't know if I go this far, Daniel. I don't know. If, yeah, I don't think he's gonna be Wonder Woman, but
I would hope she really can't act too. That's another thing. Like I said, we're not talking about somebody that's like, Alfre Woodard or somebody who's up there at the up. We're talking we've blown 9 minutes on somebody who's just really not a good actor to begin with.
Oh, fourth's got. Yeah. She is kind of a jackass, but
she has talent. She's gonna get roles because she has talent. People were telling me that she was going to get canceled. I'm still waiting, but I don't go to see her movies because she's in shit I don't care about. But when you have talent, see now if Gina Carano actually has that level of talent, you might have a different conversation. I still would be like, you know what, you're a wild card, can't afford it. We'll find somebody else. But when you have talent in all walks of life, sometimes you buy yourself a little bit more time than you really should have. There have been athletes out there when they have talent, they can screw up on multiple occasions because that talent. But if you're mediocre or mid, as the kids call it today, then you generally don't have that kind of leverage. All right, let's see. I would love to see. Yeah, I'm not answering any more Gina Carano. I can't believe I wasted that much time on that.
I mean, it was
somebody
who
I literally would wait. I spent more time on this show than I would watching her if I didn't have a choice.
This was absolutely news. This will be if people on my outlet haven't covered it already, they definitely will by tomorrow.
Then guess what? There's plenty of
100% news with somebody who was fired.
We are. What have I? For those of you who've been listening, for those of you who've been paying attention to the sound of my voice, what have I always prefaced this show as not being? I'll let you fill in the blanks. It's a 4-letter word. Just like some shit happens doesn't mean I got to talk about it here. I talk about the thing. I don't care about that woman one way or another. I don't fucking care about Gina Carano. I didn't care about her when I was watching her. She wasn't what I was watching the show for. This is not a new. Just because something is news doesn't mean I got to go over it. We're not a news channel. Sorry.
I mean, people were asking about it,
So we answered it. We blew way too much time. Once again, you guys bring up a whole bunch of shit in the chat that I'm not going to talk about. This is, like I said, so many people will blow their wad covering it. You have your options. All right, let's get back to shit I actually care about. I would love to see Todd McFarlane.
I don't know if McFarlane would be the guy to do this with Harry Potter.
Why not?
I don't know. I think Harry Potter might what he. When I think of Todd McFarlane, it's like I don't think of something necessarily as like cute and cuddly, for lack of better terms. Harry Potter.
He's done all kinds of stuff. He's done NFL.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if he sees like a business opportunity, and I'm sure he would. He's got the mind to take it, but I don't know. It's like I don't know if I see like. I mean, and I could be wrong here, but I just don't know if I see McFarlane's always like being like the one who would dive on a Harry Potter thing. Again, could be wrong.
I see him as being their top choice, to be honest with you, because they have a history with him. And he has a history of diversity as far as projects he's able to do. I see him as being the front runner. Other people could get involved, and that's because some of those guys, but I don't think they could do it on the scale and scope that Todd McFarlane can. But who knows who they have doing it? But I could easily see Todd McFarlane being the absolute front runner. I can't even think of anybody right now who else would be able to do it on that scale and have that brand overlap as Todd McFarlane does with his toys. But who knows? There may be somebody I've never heard of coming up. So, all right, Terrifier is Oscar Performance Cinema. Okay, we're done with fourth for the night. Let's see. Skipping. Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's see, Deadpool scene. 5 years since Mando season 2. Yeah, and I've been just fine. I haven't woken up in a cold sweat and at any point in that 5 years saying, you know what my life is missing right now? Sorry.
Well, I mean, the show did have a lackluster third season.
That's for more than reasons than her. Her absence in the show was not why. Don't listen to this. Okay, now you're just being silly.
No, I think fourth is sincere. I think.
Well, he's sincerely silly. Like I said, I don't care about this woman. I wish her well.
Well, I don't care about this woman, but she keeps coming into my hemisphere.
Which was like the best part of Snow White. I didn't see Snow White.
No, she was absolutely not the best part of Snow White.
I'm gonna just you and Brad converse over that because I have not, and nor will I ever see.
I think I this might actually William might. I think she's actually pretty overrated as a performer, to be perfectly honest.
I'm gonna have to take your word for it because I don't go see. I think the only movie I've seen her in was in Shazam, too, which a movie that really kind of had its own issues. Jesus Christ, you guys! I think it was very hard to justify the reason as to why she was exited from her role. I know opinions. Okay, if I'm your boss and you're my employee, and you do something that I tell you not to do, you're fired. That's simple. That's in retail. That's in entertainment. That's in if I ask you to stop doing something and you continue to do it and I pay you, you're fired.
Well, see, the thing about this is like I'm still not even fully clear about exactly what she did to ruffle everyone's feathers.
But see, here's the thing. You and Daniel don't have to be. You are not her boss. She's not representing me. She's not representing you. She's not representing Daniel. It's not a 3-4-way conversation. It's an A and B conversation. It's a conversation between the employer and the employee. And if the employer has, for whatever reasons, decided that the person that they are employing is misrepresenting or doing something that has become something they don't want to have as part of their product, then they have every reason to fire her. And I don't even need the details, to be honest with you. It's an employee-employer relationship. And once that's broken, then that's up to them. And that's in any walk of life, in any job. You have the right as an owner, employer, or whatever to have your product represented the way you are paying your people to represent it. And if they don't, then they get fired. Samir, I'll take the comment as a troll. No, that's we know who our trolls are.
What's the Samir's comment?
Let's see, Samir. I don't know. I think he's talking about when I call forth a built-in troll. Okay. Well, you guys having don't be having inner chat wars. Come on, guys.
Todd McFarlane needs to let his ego step back and let Hollywood. I mean,
there's no reboot. There's no rebooting the Spawn movie. There's only been the one, and that wasn't a continuation.
27 years ago. So
yeah. So this Spawn movie is just, it should be called Spawn. You know,
it's called King Spawn. I think was what the.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, he did say that. So that's not a reboot. That's a completely different story. I agree with this. I think Todd McFarlane needs to make movie makers make movies. That's just my opinion.
Well, he's been very hands-on with it, and there's been kind of like a back and forth about whether or not he's gonna like write and direct it, and that's like filmmaking is really kind of like in his whole sort of business empire he's built, like the one thing he's really never quite ventured into. And Michael Jai White was actually interviewed about this. He's actually, I remember first time I interviewed him, that's when kind of the latest wave of McFarlane saying, no, the Spawn, it's totally happening. And I asked Mike if he would be interested in revisiting that with the new Spawn that McFarlane has in the works, or have right phrase at the time. And Mike, didn't miss a beat. He said, Todd's been saying that since the first one came out. Mike is very much a doubting Thomas on this. And he, a couple of interviews, he talked about where he laid this out. And this is not, incorrect, where he laid out the reality. Like if McFarlane did this, and got on like a budget of like $100 million or something for it, as a first-time director, that'd be the first time that ever happened. And
maybe that's why he's like,
he's kind of trying to keep it with Blumhouse because they make it for like $357 and like a.
But
and a
they're not going to. They're still not going to put him in charge of director. Though. So no reputable studio is going to. He's never directed a movie before.
Yeah, but could you see him writing it though, or producing?
I could see him writing it, but whatever he writes is going to be taken into a screenplay and totally taken apart and put back together, and then given back to him. So that's a problem. And that's not a problem. Aaron, the Gina Carano story has been biggest news today. All right. I love you, Ozzy. You're my favorite koala. We're going to go to the Outback. And we're going to go have this.
You're my sis.
You're not Brad's sister.
You're absolutely.
But here's the thing. I can go listen to somebody else's platform to hear this stuff get regurgitated. I literally started this platform to talk about the things and carry on the conversation that we're not a news channel. We may touch on some stuff, but for the most part, it's this in the Gina Carano and the what's their face, the divorce, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard.
Oh, Amber Heard, yeah.
Things like that.
Well, that's people's personal lives. That's not even like work lives.
But here's the thing. But that's news. That's being bantied about.
Yeah, but that's that's something I would never get into because that always feels like a lot sleazier is getting into someone's marriage and. Yeah, that's
my point being
something like this qualifies in my mind as news far more so than a celebrity divorce.
Here's where I disqualify all of that. This ain't the news. This ain't the news, and I built in that safeguard so that we don't get swallowed up in bullshit. Right? That is our armor. That is our bullshit repellent. Right? The fact that we're not news just because some bullshit's going on, some shit that we just doesn't fit our show, and this doesn't. We don't have to talk about it. Yeah, it's news, sure, but we're not a news channel, and I said that over and over again. I don't know if I have to put that in the little thing as part of my, my little yellow circle there, and just put we're not the news. Just because you saw some shit doesn't mean we're going to be talking about some shit. I will take the hit on viewers. I'm sorry. There are just certain topics that are just I consider to be a waste of my time, and I started my own platform to avoid those. It's not like you don't have options. I would love you all to stay here. But once again, the reason why I've been able to do this, keep this up and do it and grow it is because of that. And that's just not news to me. All right. Even if it's news, I don't care about it. Talk about the things I care about. Yeah, this is the conversation I'm choosing to have.
Droga, so, I'd watch Rachel Zegler movie. Well, we're definitely going to have to part ways there, man. Because it's like, Zegler, she's not impressed me, really. So, I mean, she's good singer, I'll give her that, but I mean, just I'm just not. I'm
gonna leave you guys to that because the majority of stuff. My focus on Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Outside of that, don't care. And like I said, the only Rachel Zegler movie I've ever seen, to my knowledge, is Shazam 2, which was not a very good movie.
And Gal, she's I think right now she's doing something. She's got something called The Runner in the works, and I think also she's. I think she's one thing I read about. And I think Jason Momoa should be a part of this too. She's got one about this, like a biopic about Irene Sendler, who, for those of you who don't know, is like was kind of interesting. She was kind of like almost like a Harriet Tubman during the Holocaust. So she's had that kind of on her slate for a while. I don't know if that's like finally getting off the ground, but something along those lines.
All right, not really rational, not really. I haven't had a modern horror movie really scare me. I don't recall. Maybe I'll go see one. Maybe this one I see later on in the day will. But
yeah, right now, I wanted to see Weapons. Again, it's just way hard for me to get to see anything Thursday nights these days, and it used to be. I'm going to try to go see it tomorrow night after. Yes, I mean, unless Williams hides something for me, I think we definitely will be.
We will be doing that next week. We'll be doing Alien Earth, so we're gonna. That's those are the watch parties that I really enjoy.
And actually, Talade, you had there's one here you had for me that I'm trying to. I saw. Yeah, here's Brad. I've been reading your article on DC Real Estate. Man, I was bringing stuff. Oh, thanks, man. I've written quite. Are you talking about just comics or movies or what's like anything specifically, or is it just like my general kind of? Because I've written a lot of. Again, since I started, we don't need to kiss his ass.
Last
couple months. Well, like it's like I'm 80. I'm 98% of the reason people show up the show. So.
Oh, okay. You don't even show up to the show sometimes. What are you talking about?
So, What? Oh yeah. So, since the last couple months, I've written a lot about movies and TV in my career, but also a comic book in the last couple months, and now I've actually gotten into the comics beat. So I've been writing a lot about Absolute DC, DC Earth One. I actually had one go live today, and William's gonna love this. Where in fact, I'll pull it up right now.
Is it a troublemaker?
Because you were like telling me, it was like, but it didn't fly off the shelves or whatever.
Oh, you're talking about Superman Earth One? Like, yeah, it just
No,
didn't.
not just Superman or like DC Earth One.
Oh yeah, it just didn't. It was the wrong time.
It didn't fly off the shelves because it was like once in a blue moon that was even on the shelf in the first place.
That's a problem too, but the motivation to get it on the shelf wasn't there. You got to remember what was happening from 2008 to 2012 with DC. It was a lot of just.
It definitely was caught up in the middle of like when New 52 was, like the middle of Flashpoint New 52. Even though it was an Elseworlds continuity, that was a big company wide.
That was, and plus that was where the focus where readers was at too. So
yeah, so I had one go live today where I talked about, here's 5 characters who should have gotten Earth One books. And there were a couple actually who were said to be getting them in a couple of ones, specifically the Flash and Aquaman. Never happened. Martian Manhunter with God, I mean, just the complete acid trip that absolute Martian Manhunter is right now. Yeah, imagine Martian Manhunter Earth One, Green Arrow, who is getting an absolute book, but should have gotten an Earth One book, and then Shazam too. So yeah, I am definitely. You can definitely see from my work, I am definitely very much an Earth One aficionado.
That's not a bad pick.
Thanks for the compliment, Talia.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. That's not a blue bucket reference.
Oh yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I could be down for that. I could be down for him on that. I could definitely be down for Blomkamp on it's weird because he's sort of gotten. I'm actually kind of an apologist for like Blomkamp's.
You and Chappie, you
well, because I got the box set over here, like his sci-fi trifecta, and he sort of gets a lot of ways kind of classified as kind of a one-hit wonder with District 9. But it's like I think Elysium and especially Chappie or Chappie particularly, I think was really Chappie really is kind of the and maybe I should write something on. Maybe I'll pitch something on this. Chappie I think is it's a better it kind of follows the same beats as RoboCop. It is.
You say that, and I still am like I try to wrap my head around that, and then I'm like,
but it's like a flipped version of it, where it's like it's the machine who's becoming human.
I guess so. I try to wrap my head around that. I'm still trying. Disney learned from making hasty decision and waited to get the verdict on John. No, they didn't. Remember, they got rid of him before all that.
They got rid of him like right when he was like hitting it big.
and this is what you guys got to understand. The courts and guilt and innocence and all that have nothing to do with a job firing you if they don't like the aura that you're bringing to the project. They could wish you well and be like, hey, dude, I hope you do great in your court case, but you can't be around here. Because Jonathan Majors at some point, especially when those texts and shit came out, would have become the story. And when you become the story and not the project you're working on, that's a problem. So they don't have to wait for a verdict. They could do it when at their discretion.
But like, isn't there also something to be said for like on the other side of the coin for that? And this is like for anyone specifically, although I think probably like the main one I would point to this on is Ezra Miller. Isn't there also something to be said for the idea of like the company, whether it's a studio, record producer, publisher, what have you, maybe at one point realizing, okay, this individual, maybe they fucked up in certain ways, but also they may have also been to a large extent kind of the subject of a witch hunt.
Absolutely not. And I love Ezra Miller. Absolutely not. The fact that Ezra Miller was in the neighborhood of all these things happening is not something. If the person producing or doing whatever, they could be like, you know what? I think Ezra Miller is not guilty of all this stuff. The fact that he's involved in it is the problem. The fact that he is in the vicinity of it is the problem. Not whether he's guilty or not, but the fact that that he has now become the story and not their project, that is the problem. Not his innocence or guilt. That's the problem with Ezra Miller. And I think Ezra Miller got fucked and screwed. But at the same time, he was involved either at some level or not, to the point where, right or wrong, he has now become the story and not the project I'm paying for and working on. So if you're putting out a a public facing project, you have to be careful with that. You can't get caught up in somebody's individual plight. You have a product to make, create, sell, and distribute. So no, I don't think that his guilt or innocence. That is a issue for Ezra Miller to handle with the people who he thinks may have screwed him, whether civilly or anything like that. That is not the job of the studio to take on that atmosphere. So no, I would have to say no there. All right, where are we at? I would do. Snyder would be great for Spawn.
No, you do great on Spawn.
Give that slow mo going, man. I've been saying I want Snyder for Spawn. Yeah, that's a good. I mean,
yeah, you would do
why not?
Spawn.
No, I have not, Samir. I'm gonna try to see it this afternoon, but it's
yeah, I'm gonna
tight
try to see it tonight myself too.
I don't know, man. I don't know because we seem to be going in different directions every time they open their mouths.
Well, I have one idea about I think where the direction is, and I need to but there is something I need to state up front. Like now, guys, let's say there's a crime boss who is mayor of New York.
Jesus Christ.
And you need to take this guy down. And you need support for that. Who would be the best associate to have in that situation? I'm just saying.
William, did you see the news? Star Trek Academy will only be getting one season. I can see why.
From the jump?
Because everything they got to see how it goes, and they're going to be. The problem is they didn't want. At some point in the last 3 years, they did not want to have overlapping expenses when it came to Star Trek. And since they have now greenlit Stranger Things they've given them all the way to 5 seasons. Then with Paramount being where they were at, they did not want to have 2 really expensive series happening at once. So now if Starfleet Academy does bonkers and it justifies that, but right now, I don't see that show doing the kind of numbers like Strange New Worlds did. I see them, anything happening afterwards, after that 5th season is going to have to wait till Strange New Worlds. And Strange New Worlds already been greenlit for 5 seasons. So
if they stayed up front, it's only if it's a one and done kind of. So doesn't that kind of default make it kind of more like a mini series?
Yeah, or they can change their mind, or they can integrate it. They could always change their mind based on circumstance. They just merged. They just had an approved merger. So maybe the guy who's running it is a huge Star Trek fan. He can come in and say, you know what, I want more. But right now, that's the plan. He was officially let go from Marvel until the case. No, he was done. They he was done. Yeah, John. You got the sense from Disney that Jonathan Majors was done, and it had nothing to do with the verdict. Because guess what? The verdict was meaningless to their decision. The fact that he was even involved in something like that means he's done. Marvel Studios and Disney are not a jury. They're not beholden by the same things that would prove him guilty in a court of law. If they don't want that stink near their product, then they have the right to remove it. It's pure and simple. And they have no business. There's nothing for them to wait for verdict-wise. Whether he would have been found guilty or not guilty, or doesn't matter. The fact that was a headline next to their project that he had to go. Spawn and similar, they actually do share similarities. To be honest with you,
yeah, they do.
Wrong emoji. I haven't listened. I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard of Ezra getting involved in anything in quite a while.
Well, like the whole thing about the grooming allegations. I mean, the father of the kid came out and said, "Oh yeah, that turned out I was duped on that. And then like the other woman who had the baby it was alleged that Ezra was treated horribly. She came out to his defense. So it's like, I mean, looking back in that whole situation, I mean, I think the worst that happened really was Ezra got into as far as like what Ezra actually did, Ezra got into a handful of bar fights, basically.
Yeah.
Really
and like I said, whoever would let him go is completely justified in doing so. They are not the court. That is not their responsibility. And I think fans think that the employer needs to fight the employees' battles. That is not the case. Even if you believe in that battle, it's just not their job. Marvel fired Jonathan Majors December 18th, just hours after New York City found him guilty of Daniel. He was never going to come back. He was never going to come back. That decision was made when all this came down. No matter what he was found, if he was found guilty or not guilty, he was done. He could have been found not guilty, and he was done. The Disney Studios is not the court of law. They don't have to wait. Just because that's when you found out that it was announced that he was never going to come back or was not going to come back anytime soon, doesn't mean that decision wasn't made minute one, day one. Especially they did their own investigation, which means they probably got their hands on those texts a lot sooner than we found out about them. And I don't care when the court date was. I don't care when the verdict was released. He was done once all that came out. It is not Disney Studios' job to fight his battles. That is not what they are there for. They are there to produce a product. It is not Warner Brothers' job to fight Ezra Miller's battles. They are there to present a product, period. That individual and his legal team, that is their job, and their agent, publicist, so on. Let's see. And plus, to be honest with you, the story was moving away from all that anyway. Let's see. Google Gemini.
Dort Knight's got a good one here. I know for a fact that Marvel, and I can't tell if you're trolling or not here with the last part here. I know for a fact that Marvel did believe Majors was going to be honest, and I was there when it happened. I heard what was said by top men. Top men.
If I'm a Disney stockholder, regardless of the verdict, if you had ever thought about retaining him under any circumstances, then I'm going to call for a vote. I'm going to call for a vote because that's dereliction of duty right there. That is not your job. That is not your job to be a cheering section for any of these people. That's their job to act like responsible adults in their private life. And if they don't, and if they put your product in a bad light, then you have to separate yourself from them. It is not your job to fight these battles for these guys or gals. Yeah, he was done. And listen, we share the same birthday, me and Jonathan Majors. I think he's a brilliant performer. I think he will eventually come back and get into something. But at that particular time, there is no way in fuck Disney could have him near their product. It's just no way. No way. You know, they could say, hey, we wish him the best, but you got to get out of here, man. Right now. A couple years, maybe 5 years. How long has it been? Maybe you come back. Maybe you do some interviews where, women who don't even want to look at you right now because you cared more about your reputation and possibly a concussion or a brain bleed of the lady you mishandled. Maybe once that sting goes away a little bit, maybe. But right now they have they were well within their rights to dismiss them and separate from them. Let's see. It is exactly what I put in a little AI thing because I use AI to do images because I'm lazy. I put in cyberpunk, and it's actually, if you look real close, hold on. You can actually see the train running through the cyberpunk city. Get it? Midnight Express train. I think you'll see King, and I also think you'll see Ramatut too. And I think you're going to see Apocalypse via them. I think Apocalypse is going to be the big baddie that what happens when the X-Men do come out. Just conjecture, nothing inside. Well, question, William. You don't have to use first and last name. It's William. So you don't have to tell you that. So now David Zaslav says James Gunn's creating a Superman movie. I guess James Gunn will call it Superman Supergirl for his being. I don't know. When he says Super Family, I'm like, I'm not really feeling that. I don't want to see comic. I don't want to see. Listen, you got him, you got her, and you got the dog. If that's the Super Family, then fine. I don't want to see. I'm really apprehensive about the Batman family being in it because I'm not a big fan of them anywhere. But hey, listen, I got lanterns. I think this universe is going to be 50% of it is stuff that I'm going to be down for. Another 50% of it is just stuff I have to endure to get to the stuff I like. And that's fair enough for me. I get 50% good content. But I hope that's not the case, Hunter. But currently real paid image with his wife, Megan Good. He's married to Megan Good? Okay, like I said, listen, I don't think Jonathan Majors has to go away forever. I just would understand if somebody's putting together a project, why they would take their time before thinking. You got to think about your product first. Let's see. Yeah, and like I said, I wish him the best. I hope to see him again and not be reminded of what, those texts. That text is damning, man. His words are damning. I'm comparing himself to Martin. I'm like, what, dude? What the fuck? You just made this worse. Just plead guilty. Get out of that. All right. William Marvel kept RDJ even though he had prior. No, okay. Big difference. That was after that. That was not during that. If Robert Downey Jr. had got popped for heroin while he's in the middle of the MCU, that's a problem. Robert Downey Jr. got that job after he was in the jumpsuit, after he had done his jail time, after he had rehabilitated. And that should be open for eventually for Jonathan Majors as well. It's just that I can understand, maybe not. But by the time Robert Downey Jr. got Iron Man, that was enough behind him. And people who were spending money on these movies are like, okay, we can bet on you. And then that bet's paid off. Jonathan Majors might be there too one time. But like I said, at the time of these things happening, you got to realize that the position you're putting your employer in. They have other people under their employ that are making money, getting paid, that rely on these projects going through without a hitch. And here you are providing a hitch. Here you are saying something stupid that doesn't represent the company. Here you are, putting women in, causing enough damage to a woman where she has to go to the hospital because she's not feeling well, can have a concussion or even worse. Here you are. I mean, see what I mean? It's just you people try to think of the individual, but they don't think about everybody that's working on that project, that's having their jobs and put at risk because of this one person. That's not fair. All right. How you doing, Anthony? What's going on?
Anything?
I don't know. I try not to think about this, Anthony, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they'll get somebody. Majors was pretty much in the same category as a guy from Ant-Man who was fired over violence on a woman.
Who was that guy?
Who was that? You talking about? I don't. So enough. Give me a name, please.
Well, I think that should go without saying, with or without a contract.
Just like Corona, if Majors come back, then he's to sign a contract. No, yeah, whatever it is, and like I said, it's gonna have to be ironclad because if you bring any of these people back on your project, you got other actors, you got other producers, you got setters, you got so many people involved in the making of these shows and movies that it is not fair to have to derail your shit for one or two people. That's not fair. So yeah, it would have to be ironclad. I haven't really. Every time I hear Robin, I kind of like scroll down again because I'm not looking to see. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, they'll have
one, especially. I wrote one on the Screen Rant when I was there that like in my opinion, Pattinson is the first and really only Batman actor who could basically be his own Robin. He's the only Batman actor I could also see playing Robin.
Yeah, I be honest with you. I hope if we're gonna get Robin out of our system, let's do it in the DCU and not Pattinson stuff because I would. That would be one of those. Am I sitting through Joker 2 now? Everything I loved about the second one. Please don't do stupid shit in the Batman 2. That would be stupid shit for me. So the crazy thing about Hollywood is that there are so many secrets worse than Majors. It's only a matter of time. And when those get out, those consequences will be paid. His got out. His wasn't really a secret. It was a fucking criminal complaint sign.
So Dorton Knight. No. Here's what you gotta do: is like in the comments, you gotta list the name of whoever the worst secret is attached, and just blow it all out there for us right now.
Yeah, so we can get sued for defamation. Let's do that. Patton is Nightwing, not Batman. I really would like to think of him as neither.
Dick Grayson was Robin, then he became Nightwing.
Yeah, but as Nightwing, he's different than he was when he was with Robin. That's a whole thing of creating the Nightwing persona was to give Dick Grayson a difference in character because
he's
as
also
Robin,
an adult at that point too.
Yeah, well, he was an adult as Robin too. I mean, he was Robin well into his 18th, 19th year, and then he became Nightwing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but that's not. I mean, he's still called the Boy Wonder for a reason.
Same reason why Supergirl, a grown woman, is called a girl. I mean, we just it's because he'd been in it for so long, even though 50 years of his life he stayed a teenager. Comic William Peaney kept Hogan after the races content, but they never used him.
They didn't keep it. Well, he had a 3-year ban from WWE, and then he was brought back in 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, and look what happened with the company that bought him back. Look what happened whenever Hulk Hogan came out, he got booed. And when he got booed, all the reasons why he got booed came to the surface. So what Nick Khan did by doing that is he bought up all the stuff that see. And here's the thing: where bringing back a person was the wrong decision. Bringing back Hulk Hogan for that Netflix thing, the debut, was the wrong decision. TNA kept him under contract. They did not use him. I believe they did not use him. They took him off TV. And Anthem never used him. Brock Lesnar's another one. Brock Lesnar's not been found guilty of anything. But he's been involved in things that when you see him and you got to ask yourself the question, well, where the fuck have you been for 2 years? And then, Google Brock Lesnar and okay, now we have a problem. This is why you don't do that. This is why I disagree with them bringing Hogan back. You have a multiracial fan base and you're bringing back a guy who's literally, you hear his voice dropping in bombs, hard R. You have like 50 some odd % of your demographic is female, and you're bringing back a guy who's listed 44 times in a sexual abuse case, even if he's not guilty. That's the stuff you can't have near your product. There's a right decision and there's a wrong decision. I think WWE made the wrong decision, but that's on them. Yeah, Pattinson's 40, but he doesn't look 40. So.
Oh, I know. I actually retweeted this earlier where somebody said that the time, and this is hilarious to me, the time gap between the Batman 1 and the Batman 2, by the time it comes out, it will have been significantly greater than the time gap between Justice League and the Snyder Cut. That is like, oh man, I did not have that on my bingo card.
I have not watched these shows. I do have them. Every single one of these shows that you mentioned are in my queue. I will get to them. Let's see. It was reported. It was T.I. T.I. that was reportedly fired from Disney for violence on a woman, but his song was iconic in that Vulnerable Ring. Well, they don't stop playing R. Kelly songs, but he's in prison. So T.I. has other issues too. T.I. did prison stint, a couple of businesses. So yeah, he's but when it comes to music, it's different when you're it's music, but when you're looking at the person on your screen that's done this shit, I think it's a little bit different. All right, some actors like T.J. Miller and Ryan Reynolds is a toxic jerk to work with. Yep, Marvel kept him. All right, so there's a difference between being a toxic jerk to work with, which is like half of Hollywood, and committing assaults and crimes and saying outwardly stupid shit. There's a lot of toxic people that get the job done. But when you are facing the public, when you are saying things and statements or doing things that are in the public zeitgeist, then that's a problem. There's a lot of talk. I've heard James Cameron's a shit to work with, but you know what? He's James Cameron.
Well, that's, I mean, I don't know if that, even he's kind of said, yeah, it's not speculation to say that Cameron doesn't take no for an answer. Let's put it that way.
But Ryan Reynolds I don't know how toxic he still continues to get work, but he doesn't go out whenever Ryan Reynolds is representing a company or a studio, he doesn't go out and get himself involved in stuff. That the Blake Lively thing, that's a civil matter. And like I said, people go through civil matters, but going out and saying some of the things that Gina Carano said, or if he'd have gone up Blake Lively's head and she's coming to work with Blake, there are levels to these things. And once again, guys, it's up to the employer. There is no standard that they have to follow. If they think it's going to bother their product, then that's it. They don't have to abide by anyone else's standards. Only the person writing the check has to decide that. Yeah, this guy. Listen, I did. We may have to ban Hulk Hogan. That's tough for me to say because I've been fair as far as the coverage of this guy, but I'm just reminded of just some of the shit that this guy's done. The racism is one thing, but the thing when his kid almost killed a guy, put him in a wheelchair, and them trying to blow that off, it's a whole. And he said this shit on camera, and I'm like, dude, you realize people are going to eventually see, I guess he thought that society was going to be more accepting than this. I guess I don't know. All right. How does R. Kelly get paid for his music used in movies? Extra commentary? Nah, his estate gets it. His estate gets it. His family gets it. It's put into a trust, either anything he's not paying back, because I think he had to pay back some restitution. I'm not sure, but yeah, it just goes into a trust. His family, like right now, the R. Kelly family has,
he's in prison. What's he gonna be doing with that money?
Yeah, but he still gets paid though. He just can't spend it. All right, William Roman Polanski, who's still nominated for Oscar, even though he's not allowed in the country. Now, see, the thing about Roman Polanski is Roman Polanski was afforded due process. He left. He fled. And, and then now the Oscars are not a judicial branch. The Oscars, if he makes a movie and it is, and he did it, what was it? Frost or whatever that he won for. Powder. He won for Powder, and he couldn't even be the accept awards.
No, that wasn't Polanski. That was Victor Salva. That was another guy.
What did Polanski? No, Polanski won one. Hold on.
Yeah, but what Powder you were talking about? That's another guy, Victor Salva, who was he was a convicted child abuser.
What was the one? Because I think Roman Polanski won an Academy Award and he could not show up. And I thought, wasn't it for? Hold on, he's still alive too, man. Motherfucker.
He's a million years old, probably.
He is 91. Okay, because you're right about that guy, but I can't. Including. He won an Academy Award. What did he win for? Because he could not show up, obviously, because he'd be arrested. Let's see. Poland. Give me a couple seconds, guys. You can mess around with the chat until I find this.
Oh, the pianist. She's saying the pianist. Yes, it was the pianist.
What's he? Okay, so he won for the director of the pianist. Yeah, Adrian Brody won for that, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, wait, was it?
No, that was Adrian Brody.
Because I get piano. Because I know Holly Hunter and Anna Paquin. Oh, the piano. They won for the piano. Oh, that's so confusing. They won for the piano. So yeah, okay. So yeah, the pianist. And by the way, Adrian Brody was excellent in that. I can't remember if I had any issue.
The first thing I saw Adrian Brody in, you're gonna love this. I don't know your thoughts on the movie itself. Was Solo. Do you remember Solo?
No.
Mario Van Peebles. Where he's
yeah,
he's the cyborg soldier. That's actually kind of like I have a soft spot for Solo. That's kind of like a relic of my childhood. That's kind of like a Terminator, Universal Soldier sort of riff, and I think it's a lot better than it gets credit for. And he was in that. He's the creator of a Solo, and that was before he really made a name for himself. But I dig Solo.
He's won 2 awards for World War II themed things, but he was a World War II Holocaust survivor. Pianist was an excellent movie. So it won the film Best Director. Yep, Roman Polanski, and he could not. Adrian won it for Brody Best Director. So yeah,
Dark Knight. Human interest. Yeah,
no. Not my thing, but here we go. I'm trying to navigate. I'm trying to navigate this because I don't want these types of things to dominate.
No, Droga. It was not called.
I was hoping you would not bring that up because now that word.
Oh, he knows what we're saying. He's just trolling.
But the word now is on our show, and the people that our numbers are going to get. The little thing algorithm when you put things like that in there.
It was the pianist. It was not the penis. It was called.
Well, you keep saying it. Stop. Just because he types it on the screen doesn't mean you have to say it.
Oh, that reminds me. By the way, I don't know how it reminds me of that, but did you?
Really. Fuck.
Before I came on, did you talk about that thing? Tag this in about a ballerina.
Oh no, I did.
Yeah, we're gonna pull that up because that actually kind of plays pretty directly into what the topic was last night.
Are we still on the air?
Yes, we're still on
we
the
don't
air.
deserve to be.
We're still on the air, even though I said the word penis out loud.
Dude, you're really fucking up our show.
Yeah. Okay, let me pull this up.
Demonetized. Especially on a show like this that's science fiction, horror, fantasy theme that has no excuse to have that word on there.
I mean, they're talking about your pants in the chat half the time. So I mean, it's like I don't
pants
know
is a different word than that word. I think pants, even out of context and creepy as Ford says it, is
okay.
There's no context with the word that you guys are using.
Okay, so we've heard Taddis in this earlier. I get a chance to respond to that. Ballerina may have been a box office miss, but it drove a big quarterly library. Again, I'm going to pull up the article and said you commented back. You said, yeah, stop counting the money until there's no money to count. But let me go and pull up the actual article.
The only people who stop counting money at the box office are fans.
Well, so yeah, and there's like, because I read through the article, there's stuff I think William probably better suited to translate on the show for us all. But okay, so John Wick spin-off Ballerina may have been a box office misfire in June, but its release stirred enough interest in the franchise to boost Lionsgate's library revenue close to $1 billion over the trailing 12-month period. A 12% upswing in library revenue to $989 million over the trailing 12-month period was the third straight quarterly record for the metric. That helped offset difficulties in the film division during the April to June quarter, which is the first of the company's fiscal 2026. Total company revenue of $555.9 million edged Wall Street's analysts' consensus forecast, though a loss per share of 32 cents was wider than the street expected. One of the quarter's major events was not on a film or okay, so this is like not related to Ballerina, but so I'm not fully clear. Like how did Ballerina? First of all, what does all this mean? How did Ballerina trigger it?
Ballerina triggered it because it's called associated content. So when you watch on a streaming service or any other service like this, right, and you come in to watch Ballerina, what else are you watching? So when you watch Ballerina and I, as the streamer, have like a bunch of shit listed for you to watch after that, and you're watching that stuff, that boosts my library. Because you're not just watching the one movie, you're watching things. Okay, what else do I have in here with Anna de Mars in it? Maybe I want to watch Blade Runner 2049 because she's featured in that. I like her. Maybe I want to see her in other stuff. Maybe if you got John Wick on your streaming service, guess what? If you weren't watching it at the moment, and all of a sudden I get a view for Ballerina, and all of a sudden out of nowhere I get some more views from that same person for John Wick, and maybe they didn't see that before. It helps your library out.
Well, so because Ballerina, I don't think that's on Peacock yet. That is on PVOD. It's on it's on one of their streaming platforms yet. But so they could still track that though, as far as like the release of Ballerina leads to like an offshoot of like connected
Ballerina,
stuff like John Wick.
Where is Ballerina streaming? I think it's past the PVOD window, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's on because I got it on PVOD like day one because I fucking love that movie. But the one it would be on, I think, would be Peacock.
Not necessarily. I mean, it could eventually end up in a permanent home, but they could have sold it to.
Because who's Lionsgate usually sell their or what's like the platform? Again, that's all. Like I couldn't tell you on those, but even though it's not like it doesn't have like a streaming home as far as like a streaming platform yet, but they could still trace the release of. They can still trace the release of. And this too, that being on PVOD, they can trace the.
Oh, it's on Prime Video. That's even easier to trace. Prime Video.
Yeah. So they could trace that to. Oh, by the way, John Wick got a spike, or Ana de Armas in like I don't know, like what was
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, or what was the Bond movie she was in again? I forget the title.
Oh, I forgot the title.
The last Craig Bond movie. Why is the title escape me?
No Time to Die.
Yeah. So like all that they can track all that, even though it's not strictly all happening on like the same platform or streaming center or epicenter. They could track that. It's like that it comes out in theaters or comes out in PVOD, and over here that this gets a spike in close proximity of that stuff they can trace.
Yeah. Let me pull up this article so I can look at it again, because there's a term that they actually What did you? Oh,
Yes,
it's me,
Valerie Sturgis sparked Tom Cruise's interest.
Oh yeah, he's dating her too. Yeah, right. So,
Yeah. And for that, she sparked Ben Affleck's interest.
yeah, I mean, she's not she's not hard on the eyes,
Yeah,
guys.
she's a lovely lady. I mean,
Where is it?
and she knows how to use a flamethrower. So
Read,
it's always a
read the
bonus.
first paragraph again because I can't pull up the article.
Again, John Wick spin-off Ballerina may have been a box office misfire in June, but its release stirred up interest in the franchise. Okay, so this tells me, okay, like the franchise, i.e., the John Wick franchise,
Okay.
to boost Lionsgate's library revenue close to the $1 billion over the trailing 12-month period.
Okay, so what they're doing is they're looking at not just PVOD numbers; they're looking at wherever that franchise is available, and they will be able to trace that because if it's going this way, Ballerina comes out, goes somewhere, and it goes up, you can correlate that. So they're basically saying that she, even though the movie individually didn't do certain things at the box office, its availability in other platforms,
it's still benefiting them financially. It's
what we call in the Army a force multiplier. Which, like I said, that money is being counted. That money, that's something that people don't. I always try to bring it up back when we were having the whole Zack Snyder conversation, is because people didn't realize that stuff matters when you get on a streaming service or somewhere else, and everybody's tracking if you're doing good business, which Warner Brothers wasn't at one time, but if you're doing good business, you're taking a look at everybody. You got your eyes out on Aquaman. And same thing when when Jason Momoa puts out anything, what's it doing for everything in your library? So
we saw that recently too when Man of Steel had the big spike on HBO Max, right when Superman came out, which I was following that pretty closely. I was going back on HBO Max and okay, is it sticking around? And that it's not in the top 10 anymore, but I think it hung around in there for about probably a good 2 weeks. So that's a pretty appreciable amount of time for it to benefit, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you're talking about IPs, because this Superman had nothing to do with Man of Steel, yet we saw numbers go up for Man of Steel. I don't know how new you are to the channel, so enough. I don't know if you're being serious right now. I'm gonna take you at your tone that you don't know. I can barely read this without my mouth blocking up. I'm a little shocked, William. I don't really expect Blade Runner 2049 to be a movie you like. I need to know before I go any further. I need to know before I go any further and give me a bit of a doubt if you're trolling me. If you're not trolling me, then I'm going to tell you I think it is the greatest cinematic achievement of my life.
Yeah,
and I know other people have Godfather, Jaws, Star Wars. When it comes to Blade Runner, specifically,
he says he's new, so really oblivious.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're either new or you're just troll. It's new to the Sci-Fi Center, or you're trolling if you think William's not a Blade Runner fan.
It's specifically 2049 because of the weight and the mission that it has was almost impossible, especially after waiting 20 years for an Independence Day sequel and getting that direct. There was a lot of worry going in Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2049, and it is a superior movie to its predecessor, which I am a card-carrying cult member of. But Blade Runner 2049 is I'm going to read you this review. And by the way, it'll be the 8th anniversary of this review that I wrote.
Fourth is definitely trolling here. William always shits on Blade Runner 2049. Everyone likes it but him. Yeah, this is like the kind of the unit post on like opposite day or something.
All right, I see this figure. If I can find, because I always pull these things up because every time I watch, okay, here we go. Here is my here's my review of Blade Runner 2049. Hold on, let's get us back into this. And let's see. All right, so here's my review of Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2040. This was October 8th, 2017, because they didn't have early screenings, but we set up screenings for it. Blade Runner 2049 was everything I waited for and everything I'd hoped it would be. And for someone who is considered the original, arguably the greatest science fiction achievement ever, there are so many ways that its sequel could have let me down, but it doesn't. Visually, it goes places that the original never came close to. Hans Zimmer's musical score is not just his usual great work, but he uses the original as a platform to make a soundtrack that climbs and overwhelms you as the intensity builds. The individuals' performances were great, including, and I can't believe I'm typing this, Ryan Gosling. If he can be nominated for an Oscar for La La Land, then he has to be at least considered for this. He wasn't. Fuck those guys. I've seen every minute of every film that Ridley Scott has ever directed, wrote, and produced, and this is the best thing he's been involved in. That stands today, 8 years later. It's a long movie, 2 hours and 44 minutes, but it moves fast, and every second is needed to explore this film. On my scale, and I gave it my 5 frap scale at the time, of 1 to 5 fraps, Blade Runner 2049 gets the elusive 6 frap rating, and not very movies were getting that. Yeah, that is to me, and that feeling about Blade Runner 2049 has only grown in the 8 years that I actually celebrate the anniversary of the releasing of Blade Runner 2049. And for Dave Bautista's in that movie for less than 9 minutes, and he sets the tone for that movie. That's when I realized that this guy's special. This guy wasn't just some muscle-bound bonehead that should take roles just because of his physique. This guy can actually make you care about a story. He's gone. Spoiler alert, he gets killed. But he sets the tone for the movie, and he's not even there. This is Hans Zimmer's best work. You listen to Seawall, and I put that in the chat before. When Blade Runner 2049 was over, and I saw it really late at night. I saw it the opening night, the very first screening that they had at the Texas Theater, which is no longer around. I remember just being in trance. That 2 hours and 44 minutes blows by. I wanted more. I usually, when it's not a Marvel movie or a movie with a end credit scenes, I usually get up. I got to go pee. I got to go. I don't even remember if I had to pee for that entire movie. This soundtrack and the overture that they played, I stood in that theater with that Sony surround sound until the lights were on and the dude with the broom and the dustpan came in. That's where I put Blade Runner 2049. That's a movie that, like I said, I watched that movie, no shit, once a month. The baseline scene in 2049, going back to the Voight contest, everything about 2049 is an augmented version of Blade Runner. And for them to nail that 36 years from the original's release and to do it justice, literally a year after I saw Independence Day Resurgence, for that movie to do what it did, Blade Runner, and like I said, everybody's going to have a reason to pick their top movie. That is my top movie. And even though it didn't do well at the box office, it did well enough everywhere else. It's the reason why we're getting Blade Runner 2099. It's the reason why we got a ton of Blade Runner comics. It's the reason why we got Blade Runner Black Lotus. By the way, if you know I'm not a real cartoon guy, Blade Runner Black Lotus, if you are even an inch of you as a Blade Runner fan, you must watch that. It is brilliant and it is beautiful. But yeah, so enough. No, I granted you're new. So I'm a pope. I am a priest. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. And like I said, I look at these movies as an entire franchise. I look at Blade Runner for me as one big movie. But if you wanted to get specific, 2049 is a superior movie. I have had to cast away some of my own Blade Runner brothers from the clergy because that is considered sacrilege, because everybody, well, the original's over. No. I defended the original my entire adult life. I saw that movie when I was 8 years old. So by the time I saw Blade Runner 2049, I'm much older. And when I saw that, it took me some time. It took me some time to be able to say the statement that Blade Runner 2049 is a superior movie than Blade Runner. And it's not a knock on Blade Runner. You're talking about the top 2 movies of all time for me. So no, so enough. To answer that question, that is definitely my movie.
And like one final thing I think we can maybe tack on to that is preferred version of the first Blade Runner for William.
International cut. If you buy the full DVD set, there's a bunch of cuts. The international cut adds in, it keeps in the voiceover, which Ridley does not want. That's why Ridley Scott should not be doing director's cuts. And it adds in the unicorn dream and everything else. So it is the most complete cut of Blade Runner. If you get a chance to see it anywhere, I don't know where you can find it. I have it on physical media, but if you do watch Blade Runner, it needs to be with the internet.
Well, that's interesting because I think a lot of box sets, have tended to package all 7 versions of it.
Yes, the suitcase has all those.
Yeah, they capitalize on that. I mean, Blade Runner. It's like that's really kind of part and parcel of the Blade Runner fan base is how much they really embrace how many alternate versions there are of it, and that's really, I think it's gonna be interesting for with how much streaming is like entering the picture and PVOD is entering the picture. Is like, I mean, is every version available on streaming? Is every version available on PVOD right now?
There's licensing agreements, and Ana de Armas is great in this. She plays Joy. She plays an AI. She plays an AI companion to him. Ryan Gosling is this is to this day his best role for me. Granted, he's been in shit that I will, but this is one of the best roles of a character. I believed in him. I believed he was going through, and that movie is so special because it's not just a science fiction movie. It's a movie about a lot of shit people are going through. It questions a lot of things. You don't have to be a replicant to question some of the things that are questioned in this movie. You only have to be human and go. What defines you? Does your work define you? How do you find happiness? How do you deal with loneliness? Just like Thunderbolts, where Thunderbolts is a superior movie than anything that came out this year for me, is because it can connect with you on levels that don't need superpowers or broadscapes or anything like that. At the end of the day, Blade Runner 2049 is a human story with a science fiction backdrop. But that science fiction backdrop is what makes it Blade Runner. But yeah, 2049. We've watched that on this channel. We'll probably watch it before this channel. It's taken off the air about 1,000 times if it's up to me. But yeah, Blade Runner 2049 is my favorite movie, period. That's why when we did my top 10 science fiction movies, I gave away 1 and 2. You guys just had to figure out where was Blade Runner and where was 2049. So you really only had to guess 8 for me because I gave you those because there's no way you could be watching the show for any length of time and then not understand that. So
Aaron says actually do a drawing of William as the Pope of the Church of Blade Runner, and we have Blade Runner. Oh, by the way, Aaron, you're gonna do this because I literally just saw this on Instagram a few minutes ago. This is like breaking news. This is like for our church that we're the 2 popes of. Philip Ree is doing best of the best 5. Oh man, so give me all the news.
What the fuck?
You haven't seen Best of the Best, man? It's only like an 80s class. It's
I probably have. I just didn't care.
It's from the era of the Karate
I watched
Kid,
it, dude. There was so much kung fu shit in the 80s and ninja shit in the 80s and blood sport shit in the 80s.
Best was like that. That was my adolescence, especially because I was in Taekwondo when I was going. That it's very much what it's Korean martial arts is predicated on. So Philip Ree is. Oh yes, we're gonna see
Philip, whoever you are. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. You're really fun.
I'd share that with Aaron.
Nah, that was just I didn't hate the first Jurassic. I just didn't feel like coming back for anything anymore. That's all. I didn't hate Jurassic Park. It just was not. It just didn't connect with me. All right, guys, that is it for the night. We can just listen. We can discuss Blade Runner whenever you guys want to. To be honest with you, it is the basis. I don't want to hear what Fourth has to say about it.
It's probably too dangerous to pull up.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's a reference to your Blade Runner fandom.
When I hear about him, and then when I hear about people say, "Oh, Blade Runner is boring," you know what? That's fine. It's how I feel about Blade Runner has nothing to do with anybody else. If you don't feel that way, that's I feel bad for you.
It's not like you're in like some you're not like a fandom of one or anything. I mean, Blade Runner has a huge fan base.
And like I said. It's taken some of the original people like, I won't go see that. The original is fine. We don't need a sequel. I'm sorry. I want to revisit you guys 8 years later after you've had this movie permeate your system and see if you still are honestly saying that shit. There's no way you could ever have loved, in my opinion, the original 1982 movie and not absolutely love 2049. I mean, it's a beautiful. In fact, I might watch it tonight or this morning. Deckard is a replicant, and that's where I'm going to end the show. All right, you guys have a nice night. I do not know if I'm going to be on later on tonight, but we will be on around 3:00 this afternoon, and we're going to go through Happy Gilmore 2 and Cable Guy. We're going to run all of them through. If there's been no added on movies, nobody's made any other donations, then that will be it for those type of movies. That will be it. All right, guys, Have a nice morning, and I will see you for those two. I can't say Happy Gilmore 2 is an awful movie because I haven't seen it, but I'm a cable guy. If you guys are going to torture me with a movie of him being a buffoon, this is the most acceptable buffoonery that he's had. So there you go. We'll be fair. See you tonight or this
See you
afternoon.
guys.